Life really does come at you fast because one minute my boyfriend's meeting my parents and spending a day with his grandparents. And the next day we have like a mini communication breakdown and I don't hear from him. And it's been a week. And my birthday's in 2 days. So, needless to say, I'm fighting for my life over a man, nay, boy, and writing shit on post it notes like, you're worthy of love and you're not a worthless piece of garbage, and putting it on my bathroom mirror. I'm not doing well. I'm not doing.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll explore how a woman tries to play the classic "let's take a break" card with her husband, only to find out that while she's waiting, he's already moved a female friend in to live with him. Additionally, we'll analyze a frustrated liberal feminist who finds herself attracted to traditionally masculine and conservative men, while she's unwilling to give up her single lifestyle or empowerment to build something real with them. Your support is super important to us. Give us a like and subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Share your experiences and advice in the comments. That's what helps this community grow. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Let's get started.
So everybody loves to talk about the dating horror stories, but can we talk about reporting these people on dating apps? So I've had a stalker for like 3 years, and anytime that I report them on the B app, I get a response from the app saying that like they have to see if other people report them before they take action. So let's contrast that with the Spicy app that I'm also on for dating. I recently ended things with a partner that was linked with me there, and I reported the behavior that ended our relationship. Not only was that offline behavior concerning to them, but they said they would take action immediately and expressed empathy and concern. That's a huge difference in reaction. The B app is not where it's at.
In short, she's upset because she doesn't have absolute control over the app. The first guy you want to report just because you don't like him and he bothers you. Remember, when the man isn't attractive, it's called harassment. The second one you reported for bad behavior after going out with you. Could it be that he left you and it bothered you that he moved on? You call that bad behavior. Many times, these reports don't come from an objective place but rather from personal frustration or anger. And the problem is that platforms don't always have a way to verify the truth behind these stories. Dating apps are not a court of law, and using them to resolve emotional or personal issues is irresponsible.
As a liberal woman, it is really hard to find a man who's willing to play the more traditional masculine role in the relationship in today's day and age. Who is not a conservative? A man who wants to pay on the first date, who wants to open your door, who has that want and desire to take care of you and to provide, who is not a conservative. And obviously, as a liberal woman, I do want to be respected for my independence. And I do want to have my own autonomy in the relationship and not be confined or conform to the traditional female homemaker, childbearing role. And most of the men that I've dated who do have that more natural provider masculinity about them are normally conservative. So I don't really know what to do because I don't want to compromise my morals and values just to find a man. But am I asking to have my cake and eat it too?
Yes, you are. Feminism is so much fun until it's time to be a feminist. There are a lot of contradictory declarations in her videos, so let's start at the beginning. Saying you want a traditionally masculine man who has the attributes of being a leader and a protector and a provider, who is gentlemanly and chivalrous, but you want him to be a liberal, is a total paradox. Liberal men, not all of them, but a lot of them, tend to go wherever the social and political winds will push them. So when the feminist movement came in and said, hey, you guys need to shed your masculinity and not be so assertive and start being more sensitive and don't be so ambitious and step aside and let women take the lead, they did exactly that. And they became more feminine. And now your biological instincts are kicking in and you're like, I'd kind of like to have a man who's a little more manly. As far as splitting the bill on the first date or subsequent dates, that's something that you're going to have to get used to. because men are waking up and realizing that women haven't had skin in the dating game, and that's why they haven't been taking it seriously. Think about it, ladies. One of the expectations of a traditional man is to be a provider, to provide you with things, which involves paying for things. So if you expect a man to pay for you on the first, second, third, fourth, fifth date, which one of your traditional roles are you fulfilling in return? Are you going to commit to him and be faithful to him from that point forward? Of course not. You've got a roster of dudes and you can go out with a different guy every night of the week if you wanted to. So why should he be expected to fulfill one of his traditional roles if the same isn't expected of you? Splitting the cost of dates ensures that the woman is at least to some extent invested in the dating process and is therefore a little more likely to take it seriously. Lastly, what does it mean to be an independent woman? Because I heard this woman say, I want to maintain my independence and autonomy, but I also want a man to come in and take care of me, provide for me, and protect me. But I also don't want to take on the traditional feminine roles of being a homemaker and bearing children. So, what are you bringing to the relationship? What it means is that women like this want the benefits of a relationship, but none of the responsibilities. They want a traditional man, but don't want to be beholden to the expectations of faithfulness, supportiveness, submissiveness, and respect.
Oh, hell no!
Who's that Pokemon?
She wants a traditional man when she herself isn't traditional. This is the type of woman who wants a beta provider to give her everything while she contributes nothing more than intimacy. She wants her freedom, in other words, to act like she's single while in a relationship. The problem is that these men have their feet firmly on the ground. If you expect him to pay, care for, and protect you, then he will expect loyalty, support, and mutual respect in return. Everything she seems to avoid. The issue is that women like this want all the benefits of traditional men without taking on the responsibilities of a relationship. The irony is that she criticizes liberal men for not being masculine enough while rejecting conservative men for not aligning with her values. A typical example of a woman who doesn't know what she wants.
My husband, 28 male, is living with the female friend, and she, 22 female, has become hostile towards me. My husband and I have been married for 3 years, and our marriage is on the rocks. It all mainly started after the birth of our first child together, in which he became increasingly irritable, aggressive, and sexually distant from me. Once he started to get physically abusive by grabbing and pushing me, we decided to live at different residences in a desperate attempt to salvage our marriage. That was 3 months ago. I'm currently living with my mom, and I work part-time while also taking care of our 18-month-old son with the help of her. My husband purchased a new condo with the financial help of his dad and lives with a female friend of his, 22 female, who he apparently charges rent. Isn't rent as in money or rent as in clapping cheeks? Because you can pay a debt a whole lot of fucking ways. I was uncomfortable about his living arrangement with this woman from the moment I heard about it. Mainly because we agreed that we are not taking a break in the sense of seeing others. We're still married and are not going through a separation, but we're just trying to give each other, mainly him, space. No, I mean, y'all can tell yourselves that all you want, but no, because this man has bought a whole new condo with the help of his father and is living with an entirely different woman that is not the mother of his child, his wife, while you are living with your mother. He wasn't worried about where you guys are going to stay, whether you guys were financially stable. This man is getting ready to move on with his life. He is moving on with his life. You're preparing for divorce. You are. Like, denial is a river in Egypt, baby. You guys are preparing for divorce. Like,
These silly games, don't get upset about the outcome. As a man, if I live with you, you're the mother of my children, and you pack your things and leave, you're making it clear that you're leaving me. I won't say this man is blameless, because he's not, especially if there's physical abuse, which I find unacceptable. But this marriage is broken. He's clearly moving on with his life. By stepping out of that house, you made your intentions clear. Since he didn't reach out to have you live with him in his new home, and if that wasn't enough of a sign, the detail of the tenant living with him confirms it. That rent likely isn't being paid with money alone, and you know it. Men quietly discard. If he's not prioritizing rebuilding his relationship with you or defending your place as the mother of his child, then the message is clear. He's paving the way for a divorce.
girl, She's become very hostile towards me, which is strange because she's supposedly only his friend and basically a tenant of his. For example, I went to visit him with our son, and the whole time she was sitting near him, staring at me with hatred. Girl, if you don't take the fucking blinders off and stop pretending like you do not understand what's going on, because if I take my son to go see his daddy, what is this bitch sitting here for? You're dismissed. If we need some drinks or some snacks, we'll call you. Thank you for your time. Like, why? I didn't come and see you. What are you doing here? Goodbye. When I asked if he and I could talk privately, she said, no, this is our place. And of course, this made everything awkward, so I just left shortly after that. Why are you pretending that you don't know what's going on? And the fact that this motherfucker didn't say nothing to her for saying something to you, like, come on, man. That is his girlfriend, and she wants to make sure you understand that you're not welcome there. And yo, dumbass, I just don't understand why she's so hostile towards me. Because you have the one thing that she wants. One, his son. Two, his last name. Of course she's going to be hostile towards you. You have what she... Come on, man. Girl, I'm gonna start charging you motherfuckers for my advice, because the way I would be a millionaire over fucking night. Stop pretending like you don't know what's going on. Open your eyes, baby girl. I don't know why she would act so hostile towards me if she was just a friend or tenant of his. My husband didn't seem bothered by her rudeness towards me either. At one point, I thought I saw him smirk. I don't know if I should be concerned that he and her have become more than friends, especially since my husband told me through text that him and I are still exclusive to each other. Girl, what is the best way to continue with this awkward situation? End it. That's the best way to continue on with this awkward situation. End it. I really wish that I knew you in person so I can invite you over and yell at you in your face and yell at you until I make you cry, until you understand that your husband is doing this shit on purpose. I thought I saw him smirk. Bitch, you saw him smirk. Your husband is evil. He's doing this to hurt you on purpose. Instead of just ending the marriage, he wants to string you along. You and I are together. Don't worry about any of that. But I'm also not going to defend you when some bitch gets disrespectful towards you. Come on, man. Like, you deserve so much better. I need you to open your eyes and look the hell around and see things for what the fuck they are and not what you want them to be.
It's funny because it's true.
I have to agree with this woman. He's making a fool out of her, or she's willingly ignoring the situation. This shows that when a woman is in love, even when she knows she's being deceived, she tries to convince herself it's not happening. This man, in my opinion, is in the wrong. She's the mother of his children, and they're married. But you left him, even if in your mind it doesn't feel that way. It is that way. The moment you stopped living with him, you left him. Now he's watching two women compete for his attention, and of course, he enjoys it. The hostile behavior of this woman, who you claim is just a friend, is anything but subtle. If she's sitting there glaring at you with disdain, it's because she feels like she's in competition with you, even if you want to ignore it. That's not a sign of respect or interest in fixing things with you. He's already setting up his new dynamic and making it clear, even if indirectly, where you stand. Stop looking for explanations when you already have the answers.
You know what I wish more people knew? That the 1950s housewife, like June Cleaver, a lot of people think is traditional values. That was not tradition. That was an organized PR campaign to get women to stay in the kitchen. When men came back from World War II, women were forced to leave the workforce. Ad agencies and pop culture really glamorized the housewife. Domesticity is so cute. And women were continually sold more products and lifestyles that really emphasized their place. And then the post-war economy really boomed, and so did the suburbs. Middle-class families started to move into single-family homes, and men became the breadwinners. Then pop psychologists started to talk about, women are the caretakers and the nurturers, and it's tied to our biology. So either she's going to be really good at taking care of the home and your children, or it is her personal failing. And then even educational institutions started to promote degrees in homemaking, if women got higher degrees at all. And this is all to prepare women for marriage instead of the workforce. You can even see that publications like women's magazines went from writing about adventure stories to romance tales where women just find their knight in shining armor. So we're supposed to go back to traditional values. This was never our tradition in the first place.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
In summary, she's arguing that the traditional gender model isn't innate but fabricated, rejecting the idea that we should return to those values. Here we see a single woman trying to convince others to end up like her, because misery loves company. But let me remind you of something. The model of the man as provider and the woman as caregiver didn't emerge because someone dreamed it up in a marketing meeting. It arose because it was functional for its time. While men were rebuilding the economy after the war, women focused on creating stable homes in a world recovering from global chaos. Yes, magazines promoted that narrative, but do you know why? Because it worked. Families had clear structures, and the economic stability of the era allowed it. Today, a married woman who can afford to stay home and care for her children is living a luxury. Given the current economy, very few families can make that work. Do you know how many women today barely have time to see their children because they have to work? They look more tired and aged from the stress, while many stay-at-home moms care for their homes, their kids, get enough sleep, and often even have time to go to the gym, especially once the kids are in school. For many men, the role of provider wasn't an imposition, but a way to protect and care for their families. But a woman on the wall doesn't understand that, because the wall doesn't forgive.
Men, on a date, you should be there 15 minutes early and I should be there 15 minutes late. And the 30 minutes that you're alone, you should think about what you've done. Okay, I'll be there soon.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll see a woman justifying having found love by being unfaithful with a married man. We'll also watch as a woman gets upset when men don't help her defend herself after she claims that men are trash. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Share your experiences and advice in the comments. This is what helps our community grow. Turn on notifications so you don't miss a single video. Now, let's get started.
I want the world to know how women have to deal with creepy fucking guys everywhere we go at all times. And not only that, men never say anything when they're around.
First off, I am not condoning the creepy, inappropriate behavior from men towards women. But why should this guy have to say anything, sober side? Yours is one of the top 3 most misandrist accounts on TikTok. The premise of all of your content is that men are worthless, incompetent, bumbling idiots who women don't need because women have surpassed them in every way imaginable. So handle your business, queen. If this guy's bothering you, deal with it. Let them hands go. Piece him up right there in the gym in front of all of his friends. After all, you're superior to men. Why would you call upon someone less competent than you to handle a situation like this? Obviously, I'm being sarcastic, and I am in no way saying that women deserve to be victimized because they hate men. Men, if you're one of these creeps, stop it. If you're not one of these creeps, but you see a woman who needs your help, then step in. It's just very ironic and comical to me for a creator who has declared that men aren't necessary and for us to just move out of the way so women can take over, but then bemoan their absence when she realizes she actually needs one.
You know why this happens? Because they think they're superior to men. She believes she's self-sufficient without us, but the moment she has a problem and needs a man, she suddenly feels entitled to demand that you go help her. Personally, I don't get involved in other people's problems, especially if I see a woman arguing with a man, who most of the time is her partner. I simply won't risk my life for someone who means nothing to me. That's something I'd only do for my children, my wife, my mother, or my sisters. Outside of that circle, it's none of my business. What do you all think?
You're going to expire before the age of 25. By the age of 35, literally no man's going to want you. Let's talk about why this is the biggest load of BS. So my mutual Cecilia Regina, who I'm tagging below, they're doing a series this week on how when it comes to the wealthiest men in the world, older women are the prize. And I'd just like to add some more examples to this conversation. So one of the examples that Cecilia gave was Jeff Bezos, who's like arguably like the wealthiest man in the world, and his current fiance, Lauren Sanchez, who's 53, Dr. Moyo, who was 50 when she married her billionaire husband, Melody Hobson, who was 44 when she married her billionaire husband, George Lucas. So far, what do we have in common? Intelligence, drive, and success. I'd also like to add Amal Clooney, who was 36 years old when she married actor George Clooney. Serena Williams was 36 when she married her Reddit co-founder and billionaire husband, Alexis Ohanian. Now, if we're talking about the highest echelons of society, you want to get down to royalty? no further than Princess Angela of Liechtenstein. She literally married Prince Maximilian of Liechtenstein when she was 41 years old. 41, people! And she did not give birth to Prince Alphonse until she was 42 years old. She met Prince Maximilian at a party because she was in the right circles. She was a highly accomplished fashion designer. She went to Parsons, and she was in the right rooms. And even more famously, we have Meghan Markle, who was 36 when she married Prince Harry, and didn't have Prince Archie until she was 37. When it comes to success, a lot of these people didn't meet until their mid-30s at the earliest, once they started to reap the benefits of their years of work. All these women are highly accomplished, intelligent women who stand on their own. So when society is saying that women expire at a certain age, ask yourself, does society have it together? Is society doing so great?
Most of these people were already wealthy and move in the same circles. On top of that, there's almost always a considerable age gap. It's one thing to compare those millionaires who also marry other millionaires. But what about the average woman? At 35, she doesn't want the average man, who makes up the majority, not the top 10% of men who are seeking younger women because it's biologically logical. They want to start a family and see better chances with someone younger. Saying that these stories represent all women is like assuming that every average man can become Elon Musk if he just works hard. No, most people won't play in those leagues, nor will they ever meet a man like that. Give real examples that reflect what happens outside privileged bubbles. Because what you're selling here is a fantasy worthy of a soap opera, not the reality of the wall. And the wall doesn't forgive.
I'm not going to apologize for finding love. And I'm also not a replacement mother for her children. Affair story time. He was my best friend at work for 8 years, with no romantic feelings at all. I taught him his job. Over this time, we supported each other, gave relationship advice, saw each other have children, and was genuinely excited for each other. At some point, I found myself caring for my mom before her death. At the time, I had an infant managing both a job, my husband, who I now realize was a man-child that left me empty. I had given myself away to everyone else with nothing left for me. I was a shell of a person. I gave in to the idea I'd never be special to anyone ever again, and this was just my life. My affair partner was in somewhat a different situation. His ex-wife was controlling and didn't show the appreciation or love that he craved. We found ourselves out at dinner one night, airing out our grievances, and knowing each other so well, saw new things in this friend that were attractive. The affair started and lasted a while, with him leaving first. His wife knew there was an affair, but we were convinced she didn't know it was me. This was 3 years ago. He's left now. I only got divorced a year ago. He waited for me. It's an ugly road to travel and comes with a lot of pain and hurt and stuff him and I have to work through, but we're stronger than ever. My ex does not know about the affair and has moved on. We co-parent really well, actually. Recently, we decided to introduce the kids. My affair partner told his ex-wife, and she absolutely lost it. Even after all this time. Now, mind you, she's been difficult for the past 3 years anyways, but she said she knew it was me and told him that the kids will only appease him about meeting me and chastise him for messing up their lives with him being in a relationship. I was stunned. 3 years later. Why is she still so angry? I hope for her now she finally got her last dagger to throw and can move on from the hate and resentment she's been holding on to. No one should walk around holding this in their heart, letting it destroy them daily. Did she really wait for this opportunity for this long? It seems so crazy to me. Why not use the ammo during the divorce or any time thereafter? It makes me think that maybe, just maybe, she didn't know it was me the whole time. But hearing a name she knew from the past just solidified it for her and made her angry all over again. Writing her own narrative, even if it's true, as a woman, intuitive thoughts are not lost on me. I guess I can't understand her need to get so angry. It's warranted a 3-paragraph nasty email. May she finally find her peace. She doesn't have to be like me or be my friend, but would like her to know that I'm not a bad person. I made a bad choice at the time. I'm not going to apologize for finding love, and most importantly, I'm not a replacement for her children.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
Whoever doesn't value what they have when they have it shouldn't cry when they lose it. I don't justify infidelity. I believe that if a relationship starts like that, it almost always ends badly. But I want to highlight the behavior of the ex-wife. What bothers her isn't just that she didn't know who he was cheating with. When she found out, she started assuming that he had been unfaithful for much longer than she thought. The new woman uses the narrative of justifying infidelity by saying the husband wasn't valued in his marriage, but that sounds like a cheap excuse to wash away her guilt. The problem isn't that you found love, but that you did it in the most selfish way possible without considering the damage you were causing. As for the ex-wife, she isn't angry that he found someone else. She's angry because she lost something she didn't take care of until she saw it in someone else's hands. Infidelity is wrong, but so is not valuing what you have until it's too late. Brother,
I know a lot of people have been like messaging me, asking me what's going on, why I'm moving out. And it's because like I just found out that my husband and like the man that I've been with like since high school for like 12 years, like we have 2 kids together, and he just like let me know that like he's gay and that he's been gay and like he's been trying to fake it, but he just can't anymore. I'm feeling so many things. I'm confused, I'm angry, I'm sad, but I'm also happy that like he I'm happy that he could like finally live his life and that he doesn't have to like hide himself anymore, but I don't know, I'm just feeling so many things. Anyways, I just want to thank everyone for their kind messages and words of like affirmation, just because it has really helped me get through. Because like I've been with him since I was in high school. And so it's just like a lot, especially with 2 kids and like having to move out your whole life. Like a whole life that you thought that you were going to have, that it's gone now. And it's also hard because it's like no one really understands, because no one has been through this situation. Like no one that I know has been through this situation. And so it's just really hard. I just love him, and he keeps telling me how much he loves me and our kids, and like he never wanted to have to like leave, but that he just can't like pretend anymore. And I just want to be like supportive and just let him know that he has me like still on his side, and that I love him still. But it's just hard at the same time because like I spent the last 12 years with him building this life. It's like just crazy that like your whole life can just change in like a day. The nights are like just so lonely, and I have like the 2 kids to take care of. And it's like I just miss him and I miss our family so much.
Damn!
I'm sorry for you, woman, but the guy prefers to play for the other team. There's no fixing this situation. The only thing left for you is to move on.
Do you want to know the quickest and easiest way to get inside of someone's mind and be able to read them and understand them? Ask someone what the time is when it's 3:58 p.m. Are they going to say it's 4 o'clock, or are they going to say it's 3:58? People that say 4 o'clock are generally going to be big picture people. They're not going to like the detail-oriented. They're not going to like getting caught up in the small things. They probably like to have more fun. They're probably more spontaneous, perhaps more extroverted, because they don't like the small things in life. They are very big picture thinking. They don't want to tell you it's 3:58 p.m. when in their mind it's 4, and they assume that you are thinking the same way that they do. Versus if it's 3:58 and someone tells you it's 3:58, that means they're paying attention to the small details. They're probably more detail oriented. They're probably more observant, maybe more introverted. Don't like to fly through life with the seat of their pants because the small details matter to them. They're planners. They like the meticulous things. There are probably going to be contradictions to this in some people, but generally, this is a very easy way to tell how someone is and thinks.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I don't know what people smoke in the morning, but this must have been some strong stuff. Woman, you need help, and fast. Instead of counting minutes and looking for mystical answers, you should go to a psychologist to find solutions to your problems, because they're seriously concerning.
Girl math is the fact that I just went to the store expecting to spend $100, but I only spent $50. So now I have $50 for free to spend on whatever I want.
Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll see how a woman gets angry at her boyfriend for not agreeing to take her eggs when she dies and ask his new wife to have children with them. Just saying it sounds ridiculous. We'll also see how a woman gets upset because a man sent her $30 to get something to eat, and how a woman on the wall claims that all men are trash. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're chasing 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Share your experiences and advice in the comments. That's what helps this community grow. Turn on notifications.
Yes, oh my God. And then as we were going to the car, he opened the door for me, and then I got in, and then he got in. I was like, oh, yeah, that's cute, but like, that's the bare minimum, though. The bare what?
So today I got in a big fight with my boyfriend. Basically, if I died, but I had frozen my eggs, and then you like get remarried down the line, maybe 7 years, whatever, would you use your new wife as a surrogate for my baby? Like if I froze my eggs and you could have them, would you do that? Just to like have a little piece of me running around forever. I personally think that would be a great tribute. He thinks that would be creepy. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but my boyfriend doesn't love me and I should break up with him? I don't know.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Woman, quit that habit, whatever it is you're smoking, because it's clearly doing you harm. I honestly think that everyday women are either getting crazier or we're reaching a point where they're getting dumber by the day. How can you ask a man for something like that? And why on earth should anyone pay tribute to you? If that man died, would you do the same to have his baby? Because I'm sure you wouldn't. The fact that your boyfriend thinks this is creepy, as we all do, doesn't mean he doesn't love you. It means he has common sense. Why on earth should he pay tribute to a scenario that sounds like something out of an emotional horror movie? Brother, if you're finding yourself in these kinds of conversations, it's time to hit pause and reconsider things. Some ideas don't deserve even a minute of discussion, and this is one of them.
Oh, y'all, please tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, girl, what happened? What you done did? So today, this dude wrote me on Instagram, and he was like, can I send you money? Let me send you money for lunch. Okay, he's stepping up his game. That's a good first impression. So I was like, okay. I wrote him back, and I was like, send it. Okay, let's see if he about that life. So he wrote me and was like, okay, what's your cash app? So I sent him the cash app. Did he send it? Because we want to know. Yeah, I opened my cash app, and this man sent me $30. Hold up. You say that like something wrong with it. Girl, tell us the rest of the story because we need to know why you got this attitude. Because I'm like, $30 is not even half a tank in my car. Like, what the fuck you thought I was going to go to Chick-fil-A? He wasn't sending you gas money. He was sending you money for lunch. And you could have got 2 meals from Chick-fil-A. Upsize. When I go and eat, I eat full course meals. Like I order a appetizer, a entree, and a dessert and a drink. That can't even get me 2 drinks. Like, girl, you sounding real ungrateful right now. And if it wasn't enough for all of that shit that you be eating on your lunch break, you could have added to it. That's $30 less that you have to pay. Stop being so goddamn ungrateful. This man had the audacity to write me back and say, let me get to know you. Why the fuck do you think I'm gonna let you get to know me and you just send me $30 for lunch? He sent you $30 to try to get to know you for lunch, but because it wasn't enough for the type of lunch you eat, you don't want to get to know him. But let a man that's on Instagram that got all this designer on reach out to you and ask you for your number for free. You're gonna give him your number and you're gonna get to know him. I spent over that on myself, so it's like for someone to think they're gonna send me. I get that this thought they count, like he didn't have to send the $30, but it's like no, like nigga, I'm not that type of. I'm not one of them. You could have sent that money back if it was such an issue. Yes, you spend more money on yourself as you should. He don't know you. He didn't have to send $30. You know what I'm saying? He sent it as a gesture to try to get to know you, and you're ungrateful and trying to tear him apart. Women like you make it bad for other women because guess what? When he find out that you sitting here talking bad about him, he not finna send no other woman no money because he gonna feel like you gonna belittle him. It's not enough. $30 is really good. Yes, it can't go get you a 5-course meal, but it can go get you some lunch somewhere. Like, you don't have to go to Chick-fil-A to get the lunch, baby. You can go to Chili's or somewhere else that got a special with $20, and you can get you a drink. You just sitting out here trying to act like you just all this and that. If you are, well, then go do it yourself. You could have took that $30 and added to whatever you want, and then you just pay the difference. At least that's $30 that you don't have to pay.
Never invest your money in women who aren't worth it. You shouldn't spend money on a woman you don't know, let alone one you met on Instagram. Brother, that's what simps do. Look at how ungrateful this woman turned out to be, complaining about the $30, but ironically, she didn't give it back either. I can only imagine how many men you squeeze money out of like this. If a man agrees to send you money, it's probably because you were telling him you're hungry, that you had nothing to eat. Now you're playing the victim. This is exactly the kind of attitude that makes many men stop trying to be nice. Men, learn from this. Never send money to someone you don't know. Women like this not only fail to appreciate the gesture, but use it as ammunition to demean you. If your kindness doesn't meet their fantasy expectations, they'll just discard you. So instead of trying to impress someone with your wallet, invest your energy in someone who values who you are more than what you send via Cash App. Your dignity is worth more than their whims.
Why are all men trash? I order this coffee, sit outside on a bench to wait. On the bench next to me, there's a pretty attractive guy my age. Suddenly, his 6-year-old dad appears, and the son goes inside. Okay, the dad looks at me and goes, "Hi, hi." Says something creepy like, "You're the essence of Easter." Okay.
Aw.
Son comes back out. They're talking a little bit. Dad continues to talk to me. Stop. As they're leaving, the dad looks at me and goes, "Bye."
Aw.
You are a dirty, dirty dog.
What's crazy is so many women that are hitting the wall have so much to say about how men approach them, but then if men are not approaching them, then that's also a problem. It's like men need to court me, men need to lead, men need to make the first move, but when they do, then they're called pieces of shit. And this is a perfect example. Why is he a piece of shit? Because the way that you wanted him to approach you, the way you had it conjured up in your brain, because he didn't read your mind on how you wanted to be approached, now he's trash and all men are trash. Make that make sense. I'm just at a point where I don't even think that women understand what the fuck they want, because if men don't approach them, it's a problem, but then when they do, that's also a problem. And the solution is really that women should approach men if they're interested in them. But the reality is women are never going to do that because they cannot take rejection in the same way that men do. Point blank, period, because women think that they're entitled to all of this attention and they can't even fathom being rejected. But it just is so embarrassing for the good women left in the world that women come on the internet and say all men are trash simply because he said something that maybe you found creepy, but laugh it off. Get to know him. Maybe ask for his name or his number. You found him attractive. And again, where's your initiative? If you found him attractive, you could have easily flipped it and made it a really good conversation and gotten to know him. But instead, you decided to come on the internet and call all men trash. No wonder why you're single. Okay, bye.
Hell to the no, no. Hell no.
This is exactly why they end up alone with a cat. The psychology of women works like this. When an attractive man gives them a compliment, it's flirting, interesting, and seen as a high-value man. But when it's an unattractive guy they don't find appealing saying the exact same thing, it's trashy and creepy. This is the same woman who later gets upset when the attractive man doesn't say anything to her. She'll complain, "Where are all the men? No one approaches me anymore." But the moment a guy who doesn't fit her ideal type tries to approach her, she'll run to the internet to rant about patriarchy, misogyny, how men are trash, and how we all need to disappear. Also, you say all men are trash because one didn't act the way you wanted. What if men said the same about you for not behaving like a lady? How would you feel then? That's why the wall hits harder every day. Because the wall doesn't forgive.
No, because I'm being so serious right now. What is it like having a boyfriend? What do you do? Like, how does it happen? How do you get one? Like when, like, at what, like, after how many dates are you like, oh, I think we're dating? When, do you hang out every day? Do you hang out a few times a week? What do you talk about? My relationships with men have been so unsatisfactory, truly, and so, I think not, like, normal. Not all men. My dad is wonderful. My brothers are wonderful. But romantically, they've been so strange. that I feel like I don't I see people with boyfriends and I'm just like, what? And it's not even that I want one. It's like the time will come when the time comes. It's just such a mystery to me. I just don't get it.
This is what happens when men stop approaching women. You end up with women like this, who haven't had any real interaction with men and are lonelier than the sun at noon. When men don't act like men, women's romantic lives fade away because they're afraid of rejection. They won't approach anyone, at least not an average guy. Chat is a whole other world. Women who are alone always throw out lines like, "I don't want a relationship. It'll happen when it's meant to happen." The moment I hear a woman say something like that, I know she's lonelier than a Coke in the desert. This is what happens because of women like the one we saw earlier, pushing men out of the dating market. It leaves many young women unable to connect with masculine men, leading to unsatisfying relationships. And it's the fault of those women who keep calling men trash.
Where are the men that actually care about emotional connection?
Well, the first place that some women should look that are actually asking that question would be the friend zone. You know, that place that a lot of women put men that actually show them kindness, consideration, and understanding. Try looking there first.
Like, where are the men that actually want to build something with their person?
And the second place that some of these men will be found will be sitting quietly in their homes, enjoying the peace and tranquility that comes with being single.
Like, where? Where are they?
One's not going to find them up there.
Because I don't understand. I don't understand it. It's just like that's long gone. Emotional, spiritual, and mental connection is completely fucking gone, apparently.
No, it's not. But a lot of women forget that part of actually finding that connection would involve listening to their partner, not just their partner having to listen to them.
And all they really care about is physical attraction and gaining physical attention. So
that might be in large part due to a lot of women only being focused on a man's finances.
I don't know what kind of world we're living in, but honestly, if someone is not willing to connect on a mental, spiritual level, like, it's just not happening. I'm sorry.
We are living in the kind of world that modern feminism has created.
Hey, bro. What? Oh, my God!
Exactly. This is the typical woman who demands romance, love, and emotional connection, all wrapped up in the 666 package of the apocalypse. 6 feet tall, earning 6 figures, and sporting a six-pack. The 666 from hell. Because, brothers, those men apparently come with the seal of romance. Add to that the fact that if you invite her to a coffee date to connect emotionally, she'll decline. Because as we all know, connections can only happen in 5-star restaurants. There, she can not only connect with you, but also snap a few Instagram photos that will show everything except you. But we live in a world ruled by feminists, whose favorite mantra is, "Don't lower your standards." Sorry, lady, but what you're looking for isn't something you'll find nowadays. Average men can't fill the shoes of the standards you're demanding, and the men who do seem to have better options than you. So, it's a tough road for you, but don't get discouraged. Go pick out a cute little cat.
I think I would tell her that the thing she is scared of is going to change her whole life. And that the reason she's scared is because she thinks she's going to fail. And she's not going to.
Welcome to The Wall. Today, we're going to talk about how men face divorce and what it means to rebuild a life from scratch. We'll explore the differences between men and women when dealing with separation, from the emotional impact to legal injustices. Like when a woman advises other women to divorce now before no-fault divorce is repealed. Your support means the world to us. Give us a like and subscribe to the channel. We're aiming for 150,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Share your experiences and advice in the comments. That's what helps this community grow. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. Let's get started.
This is a PSA for any of the ladies that have been seriously considering divorcing their husband. There's a lot of big conversations happening now that we have the results of the election, one of them being no-fault divorce. That is a type of divorce that allows you to end your marriage without needing to prove that anyone is at fault. Some lawmakers are looking to abolish that, which is going to make you divorcing your husband a lot harder. So here's what that potential change could mean for you. You're going to have to prove that your husband did something wrong, which can be even more expensive, emotionally draining, and time consuming. Legal battles over fault can keep you in an endless and very expensive fight. Removing no-fault divorce could mean higher conflict in court, which is certainly not ideal for your kids or you. Without no-fault divorce, you lose the freedom to decide when to leave your marriage. Your private decision could be left up to someone else's idea of what's right. So if you're unhappy in your marriage, now might be the time to act. Protect your right to choose what is best for you and your kids before it's taken away. Because the reasons that you want to leave your marriage are no one else's fucking business.
No-fault divorce has been a weapon that destroys men on every level. Imagine dedicating years of your life to building a family, a home, and a relationship, only for someone to say, out of the blue, "I'm not happy anymore," leaving you with nothing to your name. Without any justification, women can simply walk away because they're bored, and the system not only allows it but facilitates it. The statistics don't lie. Women file for divorce 80% of the time. Why? Because they know the system favors them, granting them the house, the kids, and often even a monthly check from the man they left behind. For men, divorce is devastating. They lose their home, their emotional stability, and often access to their children. And why? Because someone decided they didn't want to try anymore. Eliminating no-fault divorce isn't a step backward. It's a protection for those who don't want to see their lives destroyed over whims. Women often criticize this measure because it means they'll have to justify their decisions, take responsibility, and, as we all know, responsibility is kryptonite for women.
Something that you don't hear men talk about is coming out of divorce and having to rebuild their life, rebuild who they are, rebuild their career, literally starting from scratch. Take me, for instance. Here I am. I'm living in my toy hauler, rebuilding my business from the ground up. I had a beautiful house, 10 acres, horses, tractor, huge shop. Man, it was nice. Would I change anything? Would I do it all over? No. I gave everything I had into that relationship. And there was a point where I had to accept defeat. And I had to move on. Here I am. Starting over. Becoming a better person. Focusing on who I am and where I want to be in life. But it's humbling. Starting all over. But I wouldn't change it for anything. But it's tough. If you know someone, male or female, that's going through that, that's in their rebuilding phase, that are coming out the other side, pat them on the back. Cheer them on. Support them. Because they could use it.
For a man, starting over after a divorce is like climbing a mountain with his hands tied. You lose everything: your home, your savings, your dreams, and in many cases, even the right to see your own children. Meanwhile, the woman gets the full package: the house, child support, and custody of the kids. The system is designed to crush men while rewarding an easy exit for women. But what's truly admirable is the man who gets back up. The one who, after losing everything, rebuilds from scratch, carrying the weight of the system and societal expectations. It's a humiliating and brutal journey, but the men who come out the other side stronger and more focused are deserving of respect. That strength isn't just admirable, it's almost heroic in a system seemingly designed to keep you down. Divorce laws need urgent reform. How is it fair for someone to lose everything just for trying to build a family? Marriage is a contract, but divorce is a punishment, especially for men.
Stuff I was worried about when I got divorced that actually, like, I didn't need to worry about at all. I'm in my early 30s. I'm divorced with no kids. People always ask me, like, what lessons did you learn from your divorce? And this is going to sound very unreflective, though I reflect a lot. I don't feel that I learned any lessons that aren't like platitudes. Like, I don't know, trust yourself, but that's not helpful. So instead, here are some things that I was like very concerned about that I shouldn't have worried about at all. I was extremely worried about like stigma. I thought that if I went on a date, everybody would be like, oh my God, like, why did you get divorced? People do want to know why. But I would say, if anything, with dating and like socially, it almost like makes sense to people. They're like, oh, okay, that's why you're single. That's why you're not in a serious relationship. When you get divorced, especially if you don't have like kids or a traditional job that's like anchoring you, you're gonna make crazy decisions. I bought a boat. I lived on a boat. I'm glad I did it, but like at the time I was like, oh, this is my truth. I'm gonna live on a boat forever. And the fact is, like, I can't live like east of 2nd Avenue or north of 14th Street. I was never gonna live on a boat long term. I can't even live on the Upper East Side. And that's fine. Like, big life transitions are just like a time to be sort of delusional, and like you'll figure it out. But don't think that you have it all figured out, because you don't. And then I'm over a year out and I still think it's sad. I think it's always going to make me a little bit sad. Being sad about something is different from being wrong about something. But like, whenever it's an anniversary or my ex's birthday, or like I see something, walk by a restaurant where I used to go, I'm like, oh, that's really sad. It's really sad that I thought I was going to spend my whole life with this person, and that I made all these promises, and that I couldn't do it. And I don't think it gets significantly less heavy. I think you just get used to being sad. Which isn't to say I'm sad all the time, because actually, whenever I see people now, they're like, oh my gosh, you are the happiest I've ever seen you. You just seem so great and so happy. So I think living with a little bit of sadness is different from like being chronically sad. But I don't know. You don't go numb to it, or at least I haven't. Love you. Bye.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
The difference between men and women in a divorce is like night and day. For women, the central concern is often the what will people say, how she'll be perceived socially, what potential dates will think, and whether her status as a divorcee will be a problem. But for men, reality hits brutally. They lose their home, their children, and are forced to start over while dealing with a system that punishes them. She's focused on maintaining the narrative that she's better than ever, while he's busy rebuilding his life from the ashes. The irony is that while the woman reflects on the emotional impact and life's big transitions, like buying a boat or moving to the East Coast, the man is facing the harsh reality of losing everything he worked for. He doesn't have the luxury of worrying about how he's perceived. Social stigma might be an inconvenience for her, but for him, the consequences are devastating and tangible.
If he's not a giver, he's a what? He's a taker. How do we know if he's a taker? We give him nothing. That feels hard. You're a giver. You're an overgiver. Overgivers will always attract takers. It's law. When he texts you and you feel the need to overexplain or even to answer in a certain amount of time, wait. If he takes you on a date and you're there and you're present, you're giving him your focus, you're giving him your attention, amazing, beautiful. When the date ends, he doesn't exist unless he gives you communication. If he upsets you, he makes you angry, that's fine. Go tell a friend, go scream into a pillow. Give him nothing. Even your emotional energy is a privilege. If you're at home, you're doing dishes, you're working, whatever it is in your mind floats off to him, redirect it back to you. Give him nothing and observe how he shows up. See if he's a giver. But you will never know if you don't give him the opportunity. Opportunity is the only thing we're giving them.
If he's not a giver, then what is he? A taker. But here's the thing. Genuine interest cannot be forced. If a relationship requires constant tests and games to validate itself, then there's no real foundation. A man doesn't need to constantly prove himself to someone who isn't willing to contribute. Reciprocity is key. A masculine man values a woman who also gives, not someone who holds back as a strategy. If there's no balance, it's simply not worth it. A high-value man doesn't play games. These kinds of strategies might work on insecure men seeking validation, but not on someone who is clear about his goals and self-worth. I have no interest in entering a game where I constantly have to prove my value. If you're not willing to build with me, then we're simply not aligned. My actions speak for themselves. I don't need to validate them for a woman on the wall.
You guys want to know when it's really time to just walk away from your marriage? If you guys are new here, my name is Scott. I'm an ordained minister, and I'm also a certified divorce recovery coach. Let's talk about it. When should you leave? How do you know when enough is enough? That is actually one of the number one questions that I get in my coaching sessions and in the comment section of all my videos. And it usually sounds a little something like this. We used to have an amazing relationship, and then maybe somebody cheated and we don't know how to recover from it. Maybe somebody is going out of town working all the time and we don't know what to do with ourselves. Maybe the kids and life got in the way and we don't really talk to each other anymore. Maybe it's as stale as a piece of cardboard and there's absolutely zero communication, zero romance, and zero effort. So the question remains, how do you know when it's time to just give up and let God have it and walk away? I'm going to help you guys right here, right now. If you are married to someone who treats you like dirt, if you are married to someone who abuses you, talks to you like you're a dog, tells you that you're stupid, tells you that you can't do anything without them, those who tell you that if you leave, they're going to do something to themselves, they're going to take the kids, they're going to take the house. But one of the biggest things that you should be looking for is when you approach this person with your concerns and your needs, and you express that you want to fix your marriage, that you want things to change. Maybe you want to go to counseling. Maybe you want to join church. Maybe you want to start praying together, join a group somewhere, whatever it is. When you ask them to let's try to fix it and make some improvements and they look at you and they say, no, that is the biggest sign that it's time for you to go, because that shows you that they are unwilling to change anything. And I don't know about you guys, but where I'm at in my life right now, if you can't give me the bare minimum, I'm not going to be there. Think about this, guys. If you have children, would you be okay with your son or your daughter being married to someone like your spouse? Would you be okay with them treating them the way that you are being treated? If not, there's your answer. By all means, pray for your marriage. By all means, pray for your spouse and see what God does. But if every single day you wake up and you're living in hell, it's time to go. So I want to know in the comment section below, guys, those of you who were strong enough to leave, when did you leave and how did you know that it was time?
I will never be pro-divorce, but I understand that sometimes it reaches a point where you have to put your peace above everything else. I will always say you should try to keep the family together, but if the marriage consumes you to the point where you need to leave for your mental health, then do it. But make sure you find the best lawyer and fight for a fair deal. A marriage is a team, and like any team, both must push in the same direction. When one stops making an effort, ignores your needs, or worse, treats you like a burden, you're no longer in a relationship. You're in a one-sided sacrifice. As men, it's crucial to recognize that mutual respect and commitment are the foundation of any union. If the other person isn't willing to give the bare minimum or build with you, then walking away isn't failure. It's a conscious decision to protect your mental and emotional well-being. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, here are some questions for you. What do you think about the repeal of no-fault divorce? Do you know any stories of a man who went through a divorce? How did it turn out for him? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from The Wall.